just gonna do this so my hair isn't seen. There.
Hello.
We innovate. Good morning.
To kind of log in and everything. Join the stream. But it's working. We are live. If you want to pull it up on your phone so you can answer questions, that's totally fine.
Oh, yeah.
Go for it.
Oh, yeah. I'm used to hosting, so I'm like, oh, yeah, I have to do that.
I've never hosted before, so thank you all so much for wanting to come on my channel. That means a lot. I'm still a small little channel, but I really enjoyed my time here on YouTube so far and have loved watching all your content. So why don't we just start getting into it, and then we'll just see where this conversation takes us, because we are all such big horror lovers, and it's so cool having just a group of people who share that passion just in one place at one time. So anyway, my name's Savannah at Riveting Reads. I started YouTube pretty much 2 months ago, and I've just loved every second of it. And here are some fellow creators who love horror, and I love their content. And if Sarah wants to start by introducing yourself, and yeah, let's have you start introducing yourself.
Okay, hi, my name's Sarah. I'm from the channel Sarah's Shelves. I just changed it from, it used to be Coffee, Tea, and Me, but that sounded more like a coffee and tea review channel, so I changed it to Sarah's Shelves. But I started YouTube about 2-ish months ago, and yeah, I'm having a really fun time so far, and I love horror.
Hi, my name's Erin. I do book reviews, but also do makeup. So I have a mishmash of things going on my channel. I've been doing this for 3 years now, off and on, I think. So I've been at it for quite a while, and I just love the horror genre and anything that has to do with horror. But I also love makeup, so I combine my two loves into one channel.
That's awesome. Rain.
Hi, I'm Rain. My channel is Brews and Binds. I typically read mostly horror, but I do read like thrillers and fantasy. Anything like high action I really love. I love graphic novels and manga and stuff. But I do a lot of lives on my channel as well. And like, I like to read weird books and talk about them. So it's a lot of fun. And I love horror movies, obviously. If I love horror books, I love horror movies. I have to. So
yes, for sure.
Hi, I'm Anda. My channel name is Anda Kent, and I talk about horror books and movies, and I also write my own horror stories, so I have some of that on my channel as well. And I've loved horror forever, so it's really awesome meeting other people that like horror too.
Awesome. I'm Alex from Alex's Library. I just started my channel in, I think, the end of September, and I've loved horror books and horror movies basically my entire life. Yeah.
Is it my turn? Sorry. I was
Yeah, it's you.
Oh my god. I'm just used to having like the host like say what my name is, so I was just like waiting anyway. So hi everyone, my name is McKay. I am the face and mind and body and soul. I am the owner of McKay's Book Club. It's a YouTube channel where I talk about books and sometimes review movies, sometimes depends on my mood, depends on if I have a lot to say. Like the last film I reviewed was Wonder Woman, which wasn't something that I planned, but it was so bad that I just had to turn my camera on and just like get out my feelings. So that's what happened with that. I normally, I just do the typical booktube stuff. I do the vlogs, I do the wrap-ups, I do the reviews. I sometimes do long-form reviews of books if they especially inspire me. The 2 videos I've done that I'm most proud of are my long-form reviews of the books Tender is the Flesh and I'm Thinking of Ending Things. So yeah, I actually have another one, but like I have another script ready for at some point, but I'm just lazy to film it. So Sorry, subscribers of mine. Anyway, yeah, that is moi. I love horror. I love horror books. I love horror films, and I just have love having the pants scared out of me. Greatest feeling ever. So yeah, that's me. Cheers.
Well,
Morning.
love that. All right. So I think this is a good segue into my first question, which is, at what age did you get into horror? And whoever wants to start it out can just go for it.
I have an answer for this. Oh my god, this isn't really a horror film, but the first film I ever saw in a theater was Shrek, and this was in 2001. And that was my first ever cinema experience. But okay, that's not the first horror film I ever saw. The first horror film I ever saw was this film about dragons called Reign of Fire. I was 6 years old, and I recall seeing it in the newspaper, and I begged my dad to take me to that movie. It was an R-rated dragon film. And he was like, I don't know how I was able to get him to take me to this film, but somehow I ended up in a cinema. I don't know how I was able to get let in. And there were literally people getting burned alive in the first scene. So that was my 6-year-old self. He was trying to like cover my eyes, and I was like, no! I begged for weeks for you to take me to this. So yeah, anyway, if anyone's wondering why I'm so screwed up, it's okay. Just kidding. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's my answer.
I thought you were going to say Shrek was your first horror movie. And I was
No, I saw. Oh, sorry. The reason I brought up Shrek was because I saw the poster of Reign of Fire, like in that, and I was like, I want to see that movie. I want to see that movie, and they were like, no, we're seeing Shrek today. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot to make the connection. They were like, no, we're seeing Shrek today. And then every single instance I saw that poster, Reign of Fire, in the newspaper, I was like, this one next time, okay? Please, this one next time. We can take your sisters to that. Then take me alone, which he did. And it happened.
That is hilarious. I love that so much. Who else wants to share their earliest horror experiences?
Okay, I have a terrible memory.
Oh no.
So I don't remember like how old I was when I saw my first horror movie, but the first horror movie that I can remember seeing was Arachnophobia.
Ooh.
Spiders.
Probably the first one. That's like the very first one I could think of. But my mom had me watching them pretty early on because I was like the oldest, and she was a stay-at-home mom. My dad worked a lot, so she loved watching horror movies, but like she was always afraid to watch them by herself. So I would watch them with her, but I can't remember like how young I was. But the first one I remember watching is probably Arachnophobia. That one's like one of the earliest for sure.
Is this supposed to be like a little bit of a comedy, or is it supposed to be scary?
I think it is. I think it's horror comedy too. Yeah.
It sounds like it. Yeah, I have a bad memory too, and I can't remember at what ages I did certain things, but I do remember. It's really funny. So when I was a very young kid, I was so scared of Halloween. Never wanted to like see any scary costumes. Like I was just always scared, like who's behind the costumes? Like I'm still a little bit like who's behind the costume? I don't know. But then when I got into like middle school, I started loving horror. And so I started like dipping my toes into it. And I was like, okay, I'll watch The Sixth Sense first and then like progress. And so my love for horror started, I would say somewhere in middle school. And then I just haven't stopped. But it's just funny because how much I love it now. My mom's always like, how come you love it so much? But when you were a kid, you could not like, at all.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know for me, like I started with books. Like I would read all of the Goosebump books when I was in elementary school. But I think the first horror movie that I saw was The Fourth Kind. You remember that one? I was like 9 at the time, maybe 9. Yeah. And I really loved it. Scarred my brother for life, but I loved it. And I remember I was just always really so curious, like when I saw horror movie trailers or, banners for them, I would be so intrigued. I remember watching the Human Centipede trailer by accident, and it was so disturbing, but I was also like, I want to watch that.
I hard relate. Whenever we were in a cinema with my family and a horror movie trailer would come out, my parents would try to cover all of our eyes, but the more they tried to shield me away from those movies, the more I would go out and watch, the more I'd want to watch them. So like it backfired.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I love that.
I have a similar story to Rain. I grew up watching them with my mom. So my mom loves horror movies, and it became our thing because my dad hates them. It's not his thing. So my mom and me would drag our mattresses into the living room and camp out all night in the living room watching Halloween because that was our favorite movie to watch. And I'm pretty sure I was around 5 or 6 when we did this. So I've been watching scary movies since I was like really, really, really little. And that was just kind of our thing. We just did that all the time.
That sounds so fun. I can't even imagine just being a little kid and like having this mother-daughter bonding. Oh my gosh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
My mom hates horror movies. She won't touch them at all. No one in my family will. It's just me. My husband likes them, but growing up, you know, I had to watch them alone in the basement. It's a little scary. If you're alone in like a Midwestern unfinished basement, it's kind of like, I mean, it makes it scarier, I'll say that. But yeah. What about you, Anda?
Well, I got introduced to horror at a very young age because I would go to my dad's house and there were a lot of like step and half older brothers and sisters. So I was kind of stuck watching them. And it terrified me. And I was really, really little too, like 5. I watched, like, Natural Born Killers when I was super young. And
I love that movie. Juliette Lewis, Woody Harrelson, great film.
It is great.
It's so
but as a
good.
kid, I was a little confused what was going on. And then eventually, after years of nightmares, I finally learned to not have it scare me. And then it was like a powerful, like, oh, well, now I love them. So started young.
Yeah, I kind of had a similar thing happen. I got nightmares not from horror movies because I wasn't really exposed to them when I was a little kid, but I would get nightmares about just random stuff like imagery in movies. I can't remember the movie, but there was this wolf and something about the wolf scared me. It was like this dreamlike sequence. But then like you, I kind of wanted to get my power back and I was like, I'm going to get into horror and like, I'm going to power through it. And then I started enjoying it. So I love that.
Love it.
I think my first horror movie was when I was 8 years old, and my mom and sister have always loved horror, so I begged them to watch it with them. And I used to say, the word that starts with a W when I was like, let's watch a blank movie instead of a horror movie. That was a side note, but so my first one was Hide and Seek with Dakota Fanning. And I remember it scaring the crap out of me.
All the time as a kid. And Robert
That's
De
a
Niro.
good one.
It's so good. Like I remember it scaring me, and I was like, I love this. I love being scared.
The plot twist, that twist at the end.
Yes,
I was
oh my
like,
gosh.
oh my god. And the shot when like I don't know who it was, but like the woman opens the closet and then the camera like goes straight at her. I was like,
It's so good.
You guys remember going into movie stores and having them play like stuff on the screens?
Yes.
Doesn't that feel like another reality?
I still have a movie store.
Like in all the covers, like walking in and like going straight to the horror section and looking at all the covers and just being like, oh yeah, that looks the scariest. I want to watch it. Like that.
I remember yeah. 90s kid. I was like, is this like when you'd have to like rent the DVDs?
Yeah.
Gosh, like that horror section that Rain is talking about, like that was like the one section that I wanted to like, borrow the most movies, but like since I had 2 younger sisters at the time, I was like never allowed, so I would just like take pictures of them and like and then we learned how to rent them online, so then I would just watch them by myself. But anyway, yeah, good times.
Yeah, I remember seeing all the covers and being like kind of traumatized, but also being really fascinated and like wanting to know. I was like, ooh, what is that? I remember it was when Saw became like a big thing too, like guys, and they would have like all of them in a row, and I was like, let's see. My next question is, if you remember, what was the first horror movie you ever watched? So I know a few of you answered this already, but for those,
I feel like I really showed my age by saying Red.
I remember that one too.
I said we're like way later.
so who? I'm Alex. Did you share your first horror movie?
I think it was The Fourth Kind, but I think even before that, I started watching The X-Files. Like,
Yeah,
all my childhood.
yeah. I
I
love
was
it.
obsessed with that.
There were some creepy episodes on that.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah.
Do you remember the one that got banned from TV? Did you hear that?
No, do tell.
I'm trying to remember. It was years and years ago when I watched it, but I think, are they cannibals? Is that what
It
it
was
is?
very Texas Chainsaw type feel, but it was like very inbred people.
Were they cannibals though? Am I remembering that right?
No, I think they just killed people.
They weren't? Okay, they gave me cannibal vibes. Just saying, like, I guess they technically weren't, but yeah, they were inbred, and that one was banned from TV. And I think they have a scene of like burying like a kid or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I
it's
think,
probably so tame though. Like if we watched it now, it would be nothing.
I mean, I think all of them are on Hulu. If you guys have Hulu.
Yes, they are.
And there's some other really good ones on there. Yeah. So I'm trying to think the first horror movie I saw, because I watched some movies that I don't know, like Psycho, I guess that's a horror movie. But
Yeah.
for my first like really scary horror movie, gosh, I want to say it was like The Sixth Sense, even though I wouldn't be scared of it now. Like that really did freak me out when I was like 12-ish when I watched it. Did you guys like that movie?
That movie is the only horror movie that's ever made me cry.
Oh my gosh, really?
I swear, the "Do I Make You Proud" scene, just like every single time it gets me. That scene just like, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good movie. I need to rewatch it now that I know like the plot twist and everything.
Every single time Toni Collette plays a mom in a movie, like in The Sixth Sense and Hereditary and Krampus, it always goes south. That's a huge sign. Like if she's your mom in a movie, good luck. You know?
She's such a good actress, though. Like literally,
I am still so mad that she didn't get even an Oscar nomination or a Golden Globe nomination for Hereditary. Like she was clearly the best one that year. Like what's this freaking the Academy got against scary films? I don't get it. It's
By the way,
rude.
I need to bring up some comments. Blockbuster, yes, and I had Family Video too. That was the one.
Oh yeah.
For me.
I do have to say that the one Blockbuster movie that I just saw every time I walked in there and it intrigued me the most was The Reaping. Have you guys seen that movie cover?
No.
It's like
Oh my
the
gosh.
best horror movie cover that I've ever seen.
I'm gonna
And I
Google it.
love it.
I'm writing.
It's called The Reaping.
It doesn't sound familiar, but like if I search it on my iPad,
It would
let's
always
see.
intrigue me, and I'm like, I need to get that one.
Also, hello, Richard. Thanks for coming here.
Richard said that the only horror movie to make him cry was Carrie, and I totally relate. I feel like that's probably the only one I can think of that like made me
I
cry.
love Carrie.
Yeah,
That's so cute.
I need to watch. Should I watch the original or the remake?
I've seen all of them. I like them all technically. I think they're all pretty decent. But I
Okay.
think most people prefer the original.
The original.
Okay.
Oh, that movie. Yeah, I remember that movie, but like the
I
reason,
love that
okay,
cover.
now I know
Oh.
the reason I never watched it was because the reviews were like quite low. So
Oh.
I ended up never picking it up. But like, is it good? Do you recommend it?
I liked it a lot, yeah.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna
I'm gonna
check
add
it
that
out.
to my list. Yes.
Let us know.
And it's
It'll be a great video because it'll either
it's
be you
R-rated.
talking amazing about it, or it's gonna be you like just trashing it, and it's gonna be great.
Well, I love Hilary Swank, and I love. Oh my god, it's that girl from like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the one who played the one who played the blueberry.
All right. So also, I like the cover of The Ring. By the way,
That was the second horror movie I ever saw.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I had nightmares for weeks in the scene when Naomi Watts turns his chair around and his face is like all disfigured. Like that freaked me out as a kid.
I
I
need
was
to rewatch.
8 years old.
Yes.
I would love to rewatch that too because I feel like it has been like so long, like as an adult, how I would feel about it.
Yeah.
I was like
Movies like that,
scared
like-
by it the first time I saw it, but like if I watch
Mhm.
it now, well, I mean, if I watch it now, I feel like I'd honestly just be mesmerized by the craft because it was directed by Gore Verbinski, the guy who did those Pirates of the Caribbean movies. So like The Ring looks really good. Like it looks like an expensive movie, which a lot of horror movies don't really look like nowadays.
Right. Yeah.
So I feel like I'd be admiring it for that reason if I were to watch it again, but I don't know if I'd be scared. What do you think?
I need to rewatch it. It's been like good 7 years at least.
Mm.
I kind of wish somebody would make a horror movie that's like the movie that they watch, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be really cool.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you could be a future director.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right. My next question is, what subgenre is your favorite of horror?
That's a good
Slasher.
question.
Cosmic
Slasher.
horror.
I love slasher horror.
I agree. Slasher. Slasher is my favorite.
Do we have paranormal people in here?
I
Paranormal.
don't know if I have one. I
those
think to me, it just matters on the story. Like, it doesn't, like, if it matters on my mood because, like, if I'm in the mood to have, like, fun, I'll watch a slasher. Like, I'll watch Friday the 13th, Part 6, if I'm in the mood to have fun. Like, that was the best one in the franchise. 6 and 2 are the best ones. And then if I'm in the mood for, some more contemplation, then I'll probably watch like an A24 horror movie. And if I'm in the mood for, I don't know. I mean, it's different, but like I do love slashers also. Oh,
I feel like
my headphones.
I feel like you need like a cinematic experience though.
Mhm.
In the
I know, like.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna say that I agree with Rain because like when it comes to like movies with tons of gore, like the best time to watch them is opening night, Friday night, 10 p.m. showing, packed cinema. Everyone is freaking out. Oh my god, when I watched The Conjuring in a full cinema, that was so much fun. Yeah.
Because you get the reactions of everybody with you.
I know. That's what I miss so much. Like, it's not the same watching it at home on a laptop or on a TV. Like, you need to have like that full. Like, did you watch Scream 4? Like the opening. Oh my god, the opening kill. Like when just like seeing that in a full cinema and having all the reveals come out was just like.
What's the last horror film did you guys like see in theaters? Like,
oh my gosh, it's been so long.
I think
Invisible
mine was
Man.
Halloween, the 2018 version. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen a horror movie since then.
that was mine.
Yeah.
I don't
I have
know
no idea.
very
I
much.
watched The Invisible Man, the remake.
Yeah.
Although
With Elizabeth, that's the last one I
haven't
saw
seen
before the
that yet.
lockdown.
I've been wanting to, though. I
It's
feel
really
like
good.
good things, bad things. So I'm like, I keep teetering on like, should I watch it? Should I not watch it?
it was
the-
pretty good. It was
sorry.
more of a thriller though, I think. I also watched Midsummer in theaters by myself with like 5 other strangers.
Oh, the cinema was like nearly empty.
Yeah.
That was probably eerie.
That was a weird experience.
Oh, that's amazing. We have in the comments, some people are saying, or here's haunted house, paranormal. Also, scariest movie for me is The Exorcist, the original one. What do you guys think about
So
the
good. I don't know if it ever
I
scared me.
yeah, I don't know. I watched it a few years ago, but I read the book just some months ago, and the book was scarier to me because I was listening to the audiobook and the narrator was the author, William Peter Blatty. And he would do this creepy laugh. Like I was like, oh my gosh, hi, you wrote this book and you're reading this book and you're laughing like a crazy person. But I feel like if I were to watch the movie, I feel like if I had seen the film in the 70s and seen, like the crucifix masturbation and like every single crazy scene back when people were more like, less more phased by things back then, it would have been a more intense experience. But if I were to watch it now, it would be, dated, like the special effects and the, but yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I want to read the book before I see the movie.
I read the book and I watched the movie. I watched the movie by myself when I was a kid because my mom refused to watch it with me because she saw it in theaters when it came out when she was like a teenager and she hated it. So I watched it by myself and I thought it was boring. And then when I read the book, I also thought it was
Really?
boring. And I feel really bad because I know people love it, but it's just not scary to me. So I just didn't care for it. I did a review like when I first started my channel about this book, and people hate that review of mine. I get so many comments like now. I did it like 2 years ago, and people are like, "This was scary in the '70s," and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I'm not in the '70s." I'm like,
That's how I felt.
That's like a theme with like some people. I think like I don't know like if it just needs to be a certain audience, but like some people are way more affected by like exorcisms and things like that, and I feel like way less sensitive to it. So like those types of movies don't really scare me, like demonic possession, things like that. Like they just don't really freak me out.
I think demonic possession is scary. Like, I'm terrified of being possessed. Like, I actually think that's terrifying. But for some reason, The Exorcist does not scare me. Like, I don't know what it is about it. I don't know if it's like the characters. I can't connect to them. I don't know if I didn't like them. I'm not sure, but it's just, I don't know. I think possession's terrifying. Like, I'm actually scared of it, but I can't get into it. I don't know why.
No,
Also,
I mean, like,
I like this statement. I want to hear from some people who have been quiet about The Exorcist.
No, I mean, like, I agree, but no, I mean, I completely agree. I didn't find it scary either, but the reason I found it compelling was because, you know, the person being possessed wasn't a grown man, it was a young kid. So the loss of innocence at that young age was just so, and the way he wrote about it was just so scandalous. And the way they were able to, what they were able to get away with in the movie was like what I found the most shocking. But like the movie itself wasn't too shocking. I don't know.
It freaks me out still. I watch it all the time, and it always gives me nightmares. And I think I watched it a year or two ago, and it was the first time I didn't have nightmares after watching it. And I was like, yes, it freaks me out. Because like you said, Rain Possession movies freak me out. They're the ones that freak me out the most.
So I remember, and I was dumb. I don't know how I didn't realize this, but you know how in The Conjuring there is an element of possession. Yeah, I didn't like realize that until I was like at the part. And the first time I had ever seen anything like that on screen, and I was like traumatized for a second. Like that whole, I love The Conjuring, like that whole just like ending crazy madness that goes down. Like it was so good, but yeah.
Savannah, the opening scene is him giving a lecture on demonic possession.
I know.
The opening scene.
I know. I don't know. I don't know if I just like didn't realize that they would be like showing it as like, I don't know. I was dumb, but I need to rewatch it.
It was so funny.
The same thing happened to me though. I'm like, oh, like it's a haunted house movie, and at the very end, it's suddenly like you know they're exorcising her. I'm like,
yeah, I didn't realize. I guess I knew it was a theme in the movie, but I didn't realize how big of it was going to be until the end, I suppose. So it just kind of took me off guard. And I was also pretty naive because I hadn't watched a ton of horror at that point either. Like, I'd really only seen like a few things. So it was like my first big movie with that sort of thing in it. And I was like, it caught me off guard for sure.
I have kind of a funny story. I used to go to a movie theater with my like friends and family a lot. And there was this electric chair there. And at that time, like, I just got into horror and things were still freaking me out, you know, and I had seen like possession movies and stuff. And my sister went on the electric chair and she got electrocuted. And I thought she was possessed for like a straight week after that. And I stayed away from her because I thought there was a demon in her after she was in the electric chair. Like, I don't know what was going through my mind, but I was scarred by that.
That is so funny.
That's hilarious. That's funny.
I have a real life story about exorcism. So I went to this Catholic college, and they performed an exorcism in the church in front of some students who were there. Now, I don't know if this is real. I don't know if this is real, but I have a friend who is a skeptic who was there, I don't know why she was there, but she said that she saw this person's mouth open wider than a mouth should open. And she was speaking Latin backwards. And there was a whole backstory. Apparently, this person who got possessed was practicing witchcraft, and she could hear voices. And then she felt like she had to go to confession. When she went to confession and started confessing, they had to lock that shit down. They had to lock that bleep down because like she started acting off the chain, and
I can't believe they would do that in front of like an audience. Like, that seems like not what is done.
No, it wasn't like in front of an audience. It was like there were people lining up for confession, and my friend just so happened. No, because it was in a church, right? A public church in the school. And my friend just so happened to have been, I don't know if she was lining up for confession or if she had to consult a priest about her grade because we had a theology. There was like we had to take theology class. So like if you wanted to consult a priest, you had to like go to their office, which was in the church. And so she was probably doing that. And then they had to like shut the place down and do what they had to do, you know?
That's like my worst nightmare, like seeing something like that happen in front of me and just like, no. Like, I would rather see like ghosts. I don't know. That's just me.
I would rather see a possession because if I see ghosts, like they can come out anywhere and I would be so scared to sleep. I would like not be able to fall asleep if I saw a ghost.
Ooh, speaking of which, okay, so Erin, you said you might have a haunted house.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Do tell.
So I live with my mom. Okay, so this is technically her house. I live with her, but my dog lives here and so does my boyfriend. So we all live in a house together right now. Okay. So her room, I swear to God that the closet in there is haunted because we have heard noises coming from it before. If we are up here alone, I heard someone say my name when everyone was downstairs and I was up here. I'm pretty sure I had taken a shower or something. And I heard someone whisper Erin and I flipped because I thought my boyfriend was playing a prank on me. And I was like almost about to cry. And I was like, you better not be lying to me. Did you call my name? He said no. And then I flipped out because I was like, okay, well, maybe I made it up. You know, I was like, whatever. But then my mom said she hears things and she thought my dog had got into her bedroom and was like in her room, like she was walking around in her room because her nails, you know, her little paws make little noises. And we came upstairs and she was like, was Letty in my room? And I was like, no, Letty was with me. We just took her outside. And she was like, you've got to be kidding. And I was like, no. And then one time my mom was in her room and me and my boyfriend were in our room and we were doing yoga at night because we do yoga at night. It doesn't matter. Anyways, we were all in our room and she comes in to our room. She knocks and she's like, what are you guys doing? And we were like, yoga. We had our video playing, whatever. And she was like, there are noises coming from my bathroom. And she's like, I can't pass it because I feel like something's in my bathroom. And then she thought it moved to her closet. And I'm telling you, there's something in her room and it's only in her room. And my dog will not go into her closet. And it's terrifying.
And especially because it's like a dog being sensitive to it too. It's like pets and children.
And I listen to my dog. I am not going to distrust my dog. She's going to tell me. I know she would. She would tell me. And she has stood there barking at the closet before in the dark. And I think our house is haunted. I don't know what it is.
That's freaky. You know how to check if your house is haunted?
How?
What?
Alex, that is rude. Oh my gosh. So my friend also suspected that her house was haunted. So she went on Snapchat. And you know how like you can have that dog filter and then like if someone else is in the frame with you, there's like a Dalmatian that pops out. There was a Dalmatian that like randomly popped out like beside her. And it was, I would have moved out.
I love watching those videos. Those are so crazy. This is so cool though.
If I do that, I'm gonna move out.
I have actually, I don't really have like a story of like a ghost encounter, but I do have a picture of myself and I would have to like look through my things to see if I still have it. But I think I was like 12 or 13 at the time. And it looks like there's like smoke, like possibly from like, this was like in the days where we used like disposable cameras, right? Mm-hmm. So it looks like smoke in front of the camera. And it's in the shape of a face. And the face looks so scary. Like it looks like the scariest thing. I swear it's
you
so
have to send it.
Even my mom, because she took the pictures to get developed for me, she saw the picture and she freaked out. Her and my grandma both freaked out and they were like, this is so scary. Like, and I was like, it's probably like smoke. Like whoever took the picture probably had a cigarette or something. And we tried to recreate it with like a cigarette in the frame and it did not come out the same way. Like it was so freaky. If I can find this picture, I will try to find it for you guys and like maybe post it on like Instagram or something tomorrow. I'll try to look
to. That's so scary. Oh my god.
Did she freeze?
Yeah.
I think she froze.
Oh.
Let's all copy her.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Okay, we're back. Your camera froze for a second.
Oh no.
It was like emphasis
You
on
were
the
You were like,
we felt the emphasis. Well, that's freaky. I've never had anything with a photo, but that idea has always scared me. Like in Home Before Dark. Don't know if you guys know the part I'm talking about, but
oh my god, is that when he's like getting chased and he's like taking pictures?
yeah.
Intense. That scene was so intense.
Yeah, I was freaked out. I thought it would be way more thrillery, and it freaked me out for sure. Just the whole camera situation. Okay, let's see what question. Let's see. Oh, this one. I like this question. What movies have scared you the most?
Only one has ever legitimately scared me, and I don't know. I think I mentioned this in our group chat, and it's this European film that came out in the 1980s called The Vanishing, and it's about this couple who goes to this gas station, and suddenly the girlfriend goes missing, and the boyfriend he tries to find her, and he can't find her, and he tries to move on. But for the years following that, the killer starts like sending him clues, or not the killer, but the kidnapper, because we don't know what happened to her, starts sending him clues about where the girlfriend could be, and he, spends the movie trying to trace her down or trace those clues down. And I watch horror movies nonstop. Like whenever a new horror movie comes out, I watch it. I watch horror movies from the past, from the present, all that good stuff. But this movie damaged me so much that I cannot sleep without a nightlight to this day. And I watched this movie in my 20s. And it's not because of gore. It's not because of jump scares. It's actually a fairly tame movie that it could probably get away with a PG-13 rating. But the ending is so calculatedly sadistic that even the director had to like make a remake of the movie just to like change the ending, because it was like the most appalling, cruel ending that I have ever like I have goosebumps like right now just like thinking about how anyone could end a movie like that.
Too.
Like,
What was it called?
The Vanishing.
I have goosebumps to this day. To this day, I cannot sleep without a nightlight because that freaking like last, like not even the ending, but like the finale, like and leading up to what happens in the end of the movie, just like was the most horrible thing. Just like nope, just like all the
now
nope.
I know what I need to watch.
But it's my favorite. It's my favorite horror movie of all time. Actually, I don't know if it even counts as a horror movie. It's like more thriller-ish, but like it's the movie that like really made me lose hope in all humanity. Like I am never gonna be kind to a stranger ever again. So yeah.
There's some
that's the thing. The ones that freak me out the most are probably the ones that like could happen, like home invasion movies, like that. Like you guys, like with Possession, I'm like, no, home invasion, like freak me out. Like
Were you scared by Hush?
Yes, I love Hush.
I love that movie so much. That's Mike
it.
Flanagan's wife.
The scariest movie I've ever seen is The Strangers. That's like the scariest movie I've ever seen.
So scary to me.
Did you watch the sequel, The Strangers Pray at Night,
No,
when they're
it
in the
didn't
trailer
look
park?
good, so I didn't watch it.
Well, the sequel has closure. I'll give it that.
So Carol couldn't make it, but I
Have you guys ever watched a movie called Funny Games? And it's like
with Naomi Watts.
I've heard of it.
Yes. Yeah,
and the
Michael
two
Monaghan. I
guys,
love that
like,
movie.
Like stuff like that, like just that movie freaked me out. Like
The
just
two guys in the white like jumpsuits that come in and then they terrorize the family. I don't know how I feel about that movie because like, okay, remember the plot twist, Rain, with the remote control? Like that kind of like ruined it for me. But the rest of it was like,
I could totally see that. But like everything leading up to that, and then like just the fact that just like random people could just come into your life and then just like. I don't know that, like I don't know, there's just stuff like that, like just totally,
and the whole
freaks me out, especially living in the middle of nowhere like I do. Like I maybe have like one neighbor that I can see from my house. Like,
Oh my god.
it's just freaky. Like, like if I hear noises outside, and most likely it's an animal, it's probably a coyote or something. But I'm just like in my bed, and I'm like, what if there's like someone outside, and they have like a knife or something? Like, I have no way of defending myself. I don't know how to use a gun or anything like that. I won't, because I'm too afraid.
Have
But
you?
If I lived in a house like that, I would have a freaking bazooka. I would be like, don't fuck with me. Do not try me, bitches. Don't. But
My
yeah, the
anxiety would
funny
never.
games. Like I was so I don't know, I wasn't scared, but I was like so annoyed. Like when they were dropping the eggs on the floor, I was like, I wanted to go into the movie and like kill them so badly. I was like, ugh.
I think the one with Naomi Watts is actually a remake. I think there's an older version.
Yeah, Michael
of
Haneke
it.
directed both his own remake and his original movie. And in
Mhm.
The
I don't know if I
Vanishing
did
that
watch
I
the
mentioned, the director directed his remake with Sandra Bullock, where he had to change the ending because like even he was like, how could I end a movie like this?
Oh.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
sorry.
for you guys who like home invasion, have you heard of the movie Them or Eel? Like,
Yes, I watched it. It was
Yes.
so bad. I didn't like
Them
it.
sounds familiar.
I
I
didn't
didn't like
watch it.
Is it like in the end they go into like the sewers and stuff?
I don't know. It's been years. Maybe.
Well, it's I think it's French and like they start off in a house and then
Yeah,
like I
did
think like
anybody else
deranged
watch it?
kids come
I've
in.
seen like 10 minutes of it. I stopped watching it. I got
It's so
bored.
bad.
Okay,
Don't
I
finish
think-
it. It's so bad. It's so stupid. I hated it.
I
Sorry.
liked it at the time, but I watched that like a long time ago. I'm trying to think of other home invasion. I watched The Strangers. I watched Hush.
Best home invasion movie, Inside. The one of the
Hush
pregnant woman.
is
Did you guys
so
watch
good.
it?
It's called Inside.
Yeah, it's about a woman who's pregnant and then a crazy
Oh,
woman
my
comes into her house and tries to steal her baby and cut it open with rusty scissors. And that movie, oh my gosh. So
You're getting so excited about this movie.
That used to
Girl,
freak
okay,
my
so-
best friend out when I was pregnant. She would text me, and if I didn't text back right away, she would text me like over and over and over. And if I was like at the river, like I wouldn't get service. And she ended up texting me like on the last day there, and she was like, "Let me know that you haven't been kidnapped and someone cut your baby out." She was
oh my gosh. Wait, so a bit more on Inside, right? Unfortunately, I saw that movie with my ex, but like that's besides the point. So he was someone who was very scared of horror movies. So I would make him watch it deliberately because I like watching him get scared because I'm a bad person.
That's the best
So-
thing ever.
I
is
do it to
watching
my
it.
husband too.
Out here in this gazebo at night, neither of us had seen Inside, but I picked it for a movie night because I heard it was like really gnarly. And that night, it backfired because I was screaming like a bitch also. I was like freaking out. I was like, there were scenes like I couldn't even watch the screen because it was so graphic, but it was like,
Oh my God.
great movie. Two grown men. Can you imagine? We're like, oh shit.
All right. So, what movie has scared me the most? I'm just going to jump in here and say I have a few. Hereditary really freaked me out.
Mhm.
The Witch really freaked me out. Have you guys seen it? I love The Witch.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah.
Family, the Puritan family. Yeah.
But it was
sad.
like before she was quite as famous, but now she's like really, really famous.
Yeah.
I
Um,
think that was her first movie. Yeah.
What?
I think that was her first movie. She did
Probably.
really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
She
did-
followed I followed her on Instagram all the way back then and she liked my comments. Like this was back when she would like people's comments and now she's
Yeah.
like too famous to notice anyone.
So, what other movies have scared you all a lot?
There was one recently called His House.
I watched that. I
Oh,
watched
was
that
that
the
with
other
the
day.
African immigrants in
Yeah.
the UK
Yeah.
and they were put inside like a government house or something? That was
Mhm.
good. I like that
Oh,
movie.
I haven't seen that. That sounds good though.
I actually cried on that one.
I'm going to add
Which
that
part?
to my list.
But there's like people living in the walls, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I
super
was
good.
like, well, not people living in the walls, but they were
But,
haunted by
yeah.
like a ghost. They were haunted by like survivor's guilt because I'm not going to say what they did, but
Yeah,
they did
don't-
something bad to get to the
don't,
UK.
spoil it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two movies that stress me out now that I'm thinking about it are movies that like are so stressful. Have you guys watched Mother? And
Oh
Jennifer
my gosh,
Lawrence.
that movie. I still
Jennifer Lawrence.
now,
I saw that movie in a theater and I
Mother.
took my little sister to
the
it.
ending.
is
Still think
just-
about that movie.
it was so stressful.
Yeah, that's always on those lists of like most disturbing movies.
I was pregnant when I watched it. I was like, why did I do this? I was bawling.
Rain, did you watch it in a cinema? Did you watch it in a movie theater?
Did you?
No.
I saw it in a theater, and I was like, I felt like I was like, my butt was vibrating because like it was so loud. Like I was like, "Bleh," and like freaking. But I agree. Like I was so stressed. But like in the middle part when they were like painting her house and sitting on the sink, I was like, "You get out of this house, you
I
idiots!"
know. Dude, I was just like, what the hell is going on? Like, what the hell is going on?
I'm watching that one very soon. I need to watch that. It's been on my list for so long, but I just need to jump the gun.
Especially if you're someone that's like, not that I don't like a ton of people at my house, but like I get anxiety when a lot of people are at my house because I'm just like nervous about everything, like always. But I was just like, I was freaking out the whole time.
Yeah.
It'll make you think twice before opening up an Airbnb. It'll make you think twice before having any guests over.
Well, isn't it a metaphor for Bibles?
I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it's apparently
signifies like God and Mother Nature.
Yeah.
There's a lot
apparently
of
like the creation of the universe, but from Mother Earth's perspective, and a bunch of other things. Yeah.
yeah, it has a
When
lot.
you think of it that way, you're just like, oh my God, we're horrible. We're horrible.
So, and I know one of your favorite movies is Hellraiser, right?
Ooh, Pinhead, love it.
And I really, really liked it, and I was kind of surprised how much I liked it. I don't know why I didn't know I would like it. But I really, really liked it. Do you all like that movie?
Yes.
Clive Barker is very interesting, which is yeah.
It wasn't what I was expecting at all. I don't know what I was expecting, but I really loved it, and like the imagery in there was so good.
Yeah, I loved the practical effects, especially because it came out in the 80s. So like nowadays it's all CGI, it's all special effects and stuff. Like back then they'd actually have to make these costumes, and I was just like, can you imagine having to go to a movie set and sit on a chair for like 10 hours to just put that costume on at like 3 a.m. just to like film, you know, a full day of work?
Yeah, no,
it was like
crazy.
Yeah.
So if I liked that one, do you guys have recommendations for me?
Which one did you say?
Hellraiser.
And I know I need to watch the second one because apparently it's really good too. Everyone has to think.
I've never seen it, so I don't have any.
Watch it. I mean,
it looks really dumb to me, honestly.
See, I didn't think it didn't look like something I would be interested in, but I actually really like the acting in it.
I don't know if it's too related or like I don't know if it like would even work. But the first movie that popped in my head is The Cell.
Oh, okay.
Is this with Jennifer Lopez?
Yes.
Wait,
Oh
what?
my gosh.
Okay,
J-Lo was in a movie.
But I don't know. It has like, I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Okay.
That's the first thing that popped in my head.
Okay.
I really like that. The Cell.
You like it too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good.
And then
I
I know
I haven't watched it in a long time, but
No, yeah,
I
I like
watched it. I really enjoyed it.
you know what? I
in
think
several years, but it was like the first thing when you said Hellraiser. It was
yeah.
That's interesting.
You know, I think
Oh, Kitty. Look, Kitty.
Hi, Kitty.
What's its name?
Oh, it's Luna.
No.
So if you guys, do you have any other general horror movie comments or questions or insights before we go into kind of spoilery territory with Hereditary and Midsommar?
I feel like we should talk about like our favorite scary movies, because for me, I know that my favorite versus like what are the scariest is like.
Yeah, I agree.
Sure.
Yeah. Would you want to start?
Sure. Okay. So I really liked Sinister because I felt like it was really crafted really well. Even the second one's not that bad
choice.
either. But
Oh my
I
God,
just feel like it was super
I saw
original.
the second one on my birthday and I was like ready to hate it, but I did not hate it at all.
Yeah,
I was like,
the
this is
sequels were
not
really
bad.
bad.
Like, why are the critics, like, you know, not liking it? I was like, this is good.
Yeah. It was really good.
I know the second one is on Netflix right now, but not the first. And it makes me really upset because that means I'm going to have to pay for the first one.
It'll be worth it.
It's
It'll
so
be
original.
So
Yeah.
good.
And my husband has never seen it and he likes horror, so it'll be good. we'll be watching Sinister and Sinister 2.
Mm-hmm. And then probably I would say Descent 1 and 2. Both of them are good.
I haven't seen the second one, but like in the end of the first one, when she turns into like a badass, I was like, yes, feminism.
I think the second one I like better. Like I liked both of them.
I need to watch the second now that you say you like it, because I remember
it's really good.
Because doesn't it not have great reviews? The second,
No, it
I
doesn't.
don't really look at the reviews until I've watched it. But
yeah, I'm just gonna watch it. I love The Descent, and something about like that claustrophobic splunking. I can never say it. Splunking. Terrifying. Like, can you imagine that? Would you guys do that? I would not.
I wouldn't even go on that trip. Like, if they told me we're gonna go on an underground cave, I'd be like, I'll stay in the room. Thanks. I'll order takeout. Have fun. Not gonna get up early for this.
That's fun. Like getting stuck in like a little like tunnel in a cave. Like, no, thank you.
Like, I'll be that friend that if they don't come back by 8, I'll be like calling the police. There are some women trapped in the.
Oh my gosh.
And like probably the goriest movie I've ever seen is I watched it last week. It's called The Green Inferno.
She told me to watch
Cannibalism.
it.
Cannibalism.
So
I saw that movie in
graphic.
theaters. I
For a
love it.
second, I had to like
Very graphic.
because
Sarah,
it's so graphic.
you told me to watch it. Like,
That movie
They
is
literally
good.
cut people up and just put them in like this oven and start skinning them alive and eating them, like, or not alive, but you know.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's funny. I can watch some violence, but like not that level.
Oh, if you think The Green Inferno is bad, have you seen Cannibal Holocaust?
I
That
couldn't.
movie.
I couldn't.
That movie. Okay, I have a funny story about that movie. Okay, so that movie is banned where I live.
Oh,
And
really?
I'm gonna admit to a crime right now. I mean, I didn't produce the film, but when I was a kid, I'd go to this place where they would have like vintage films, and I was 16 at the time, very young, and I knew that this movie was banned where I live. They had the movie in the store, so I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna rebel. So I bought the movie. And I watched it that night, and the next day I gave it away because I was like, I don't want this DVD in my house anymore. That movie traumatized me. Like of all like the the disturbing films that like disturbing whatever, like I can watch them, but that movie at that age was a lot. Did anyone here attempt?
I attempted it, but
Did you? What part did you stop? Was it like the? Sorry, I'm gonna get graphic. Did you get to the stone dildo?
No, I stopped watching.
You pieced out before
the turtle scene, because turtles are my favorite animals, and the turtle scene, I started crying and I had to turn it off because turtles are my favorite, and that scene was just too much for me, so I turned it off.
So
like literally,
you should read The Truth by Nick Cutter.
Aaron, have you ever read The Truth? No, I haven't read The Truth, but it was on my TV.
There's a turtle scene.
There's a turtle.
There's a turtle scene.
Okay, somebody,
There's a turtle scene.
Do you know the page numbers to avoid? Because I want to.
No, I can find out.
Please.
Oh my God, tell me, because I want to read it, but I can't do turtles.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the cat
that
scene
is more prolonged.
I do animal.
Yeah,
animals.
And I think it was all real, right? Like all of the animal violence was real, right?
In Cannibal Holocaust.
Yes.
Not only was the animal violence real, but the human violence looked so real that the director made his cast go into hiding so he could convince general audiences that he killed his own actors to make this movie. And the movie got sued. Like the director had to like bring the actors to a courtroom to prove that he didn't kill his own
Oh my God.
That's how, and this movie came out in the 70s, and I watched it in 2012, and I was freaked out in 2012, right? So imagine watching it in the 70s. Like, it was like a lot. It was like, banned in 70 countries.
Did you guys watch Martyrs, the French movie?
No.
With the two girls?
But it's on my list of things.
On my list too.
I don't know if I'd call that a horror movie, though.
I have
Does
this.
that have animal violence in it?
It has women violence.
No.
No. I always look up these lists of like most disturbing movies of all time so I can avoid them. Like I'm interested, so I like read about them, but I can't watch like too like graphic stuff. But I'm always that's always on it. The Martyrs.
I feel like another one is The Audition. I've never seen it. I think
The
it's
Japanese one.
either.
Oh my god, I watched that.
But I've
movie.
never
I
seen
saw
it,
that
but I
movie.
want to.
Same.
Okay. So the reason I've seen all these films is because unlike Savannah, I purposely go on this list to like actually like know like okay, which one's gonna screw me up the most, and then like, and then I get curious, and then I download them.
Yeah.
The Audition. Oh my gosh, good
Most
stuff. Good stuff.
people, like look at the list and then watch them, but I'm that person who like looks at the list and is like, avoids them. Yeah.
If you don't want to watch them, here's what you do. Do you know the YouTube channel Spooky Rice?
No.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it's a channel called Spooky Rice where I'm assuming it's a man. He sounds male. And he breaks down. I actually have his YouTube channel opened up on my iPad. What he does is he goes to like the most disturbing films ever, and he like breaks them down. Like he shows you the whole plot, and he like shows scenes in the movie. So like you can actually legitimately watch his video and say that you watched the movie because like he breaks it down scene per scene. And like there are some movies that are like there are some movies that are so disturbing that even I wouldn't dare watch them. Like I don't know if you've heard of Men Behind the Sun, like where they put in like real footage of like kids getting like, you know, from World War II. So I was like, I'm not watching that.
Yeah, there's some
watching
stuff
that.
It's like that probably shouldn't be watched.
There's definitely a limit to horror.
There's a limit.
Yeah, films. When you're like, yeah, I like horror movies, doesn't mean I like all of them.
Right.
Are those like Japanese? You know those like guinea pig movies? Haven't any of you heard of them? Like they're these like Japanese like 30-minute clips of like just people getting tortured, and I was like, there's no plot, no thanks. But like he, you know, he breaks those kinds of things down.
There's a point where it's just like this is meaningless. Like
it's just being violent
Yeah.
for the sake of being violent. It's not anything else. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like I need some compelling story to be
Yeah,
attached to this. Like even Cannibal Holocaust had like a, you know, societal commentary that I appreciated. But if it's just like, you know, violence, it's like I'd rather not. No thanks.
Yeah.
Like I need this. I need to feel smarter.
To know that we are all still human.
Yeah.
Right.
Still
Right.
thinking some of this stuff.
Talking about guinea pigs kind of reminds me of the scene in Sinister 2 with the rats. If you guys know what I'm talking about, they used to actually do that back in the day.
I felt the same way. Like I was nervous that it was going to be bad, so I didn't watch it.
So
it was horrific.
So
I used
I'm
to
gonna
have
watch it tonight.
I used to have pet rats, and they're like actually really, really sweet.
Me too. I used to have pet rats too.
Really? And they're so sweet, and they're like little dogs. Like actually, like they're so
They're
sweet.
very sweet.
Everybody thought I was crazy, and I was like,
What did you feed them?
what did I feed them? I think it was just pellety stuff.
Yeah.
And you can
Usually
give them
I like gerbil rat monster food type stuff.
But you said there's a bad.
You have to tell us.
What
you tell us what you think of Sinister 2. About
Yeah, I'm totally gonna tell you guys. I'm gonna watch it tonight.
There's a rat part you said, like a
yeah. It's an actual form of torture they used to do back in the day.
Oh no.
Okay, maybe I'll skip that. I'll see.
Don't skip. It's not like the rats being harmed, if that makes sense.
It's not the rats, it's people.
Oh,
in second grade, we had a teacher that would have rats as like class pets.
yeah.
And that's what kind of started my rat love, and that's why I ended up getting a rat later. But like we had rats as class pets, and one of the kids killed the rat.
Oh,
How? Like
It held it
accidentally? I hope it was accidental.
It held it.
that's like a mice and men.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna make it through that scene.
Aw.
'Cause I'm still traumatized by it because I still think about it. I'm like, oh, because we had a whole rat funeral.
That's awful.
Funeral and everything.
So sad. Oh my god.
It was sad. I'm tearing up just thinking about it.
Okay, no more sad rat. What's so Erin, you like Halloween? Is that your all-time favorite?
It's my nostalgic all-time
Yeah.
favorite. I feel like it's not necessarily scary to me. I mean, I do find the idea of Michael Myers scary, but I don't know if I necessarily find the movie scary. But like, I don't know, I'm not really scared by too much. Like the really violent, graphic ones just make me like grossed out. It's not really like scary, but the only movie I really remember being scared in was Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 2003 remake. I saw it in theaters, and I lived in New Mexico because I was born there, and it takes place in Texas. And I was on the border of Texas, so I thought that it was real because it says based on true events.
Yeah.
So my little brain, I was in 3rd grade at the time, so my little, however old you are, like 9 or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. When my little 9-year-old brain thought that Leatherface was going to come to New Mexico because I lived really, 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 really close. So every time I heard a chainsaw or like a leaf blower, I thought he was going to kill me.
Oh my
I love that.
And then I researched it and realized what they were talking about, what he was based on, and I was disappointed. So
Yeah. Well, I'm in Texas currently, and I just recently watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I was like, love that. It was like so Austin. It was just,
yeah,
it didn't scare me because, like, you know,
it's not real. Yeah,
it's not as scary. I was talking to somebody though, and they said like the fact of being chased and like not being able to is really scary. So you know, of course, that's freaky. But yeah, when you said Texas, I was like, yep, currently in Texas. Yeah, I feel that.
Oh my gosh.
So, what about you, Rain? What's your favorite?
My favorites? Well, Sinister is definitely one of them. That one is so great. I also really love The Witch.
Me
too. I love stuff like that. That's like a slow burn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love The Witch. I talk about it all the time. Whenever I'm recommending like horror films, I always talk about it. I just love that one.
I love
it. Like my favorite aesthetically pleasing. That's definitely like number one.
Yeah.
I also just recently watched, I told you guys in the chat, Hansel and Gretel.
Oh, yes.
Is this the one with Sophia Lillis?
It's
Sophia
like
Lillis.
Really, what did it come out like a couple years ago? I don't know, like
year or two ago. Yeah.
Oh wait, was this like Gretel and Hansel? Like the Gretel and that's
what it is. Gretel and Hansel. I always get it like swapped, but
because it originally was Hansel.
But Hansel and Gretel, it's Gretel and Hansel. But it's okay. You would probably like it. It's a whole cinematic.
Yeah,
it really is.
I will check it out.
Yeah, it's on Hulu.
Watching that soon.
It
is.
I really enjoyed it. It's on Hulu.
That's awesome.
Rain, since you liked The Witch, did you like The Lighthouse? His follow?
I love
I haven't watched The Lighthouse.
I love The
You need
Lighthouse.
to watch it.
I loved it. It's so good.
So jarring. There's just that movie's good. It's not what it
is. Is it on a streaming service right now that I could watch it?
I'm pretty sure it's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I saw that movie at a film festival with no subtitles. I was struggling, but the struggle was worth it. Because oh my god, I was seated at we bought tickets very late, so I was seated so we were sitting at the very front, and there was a fight in the movie theater because a girl was on her phone. So that made the movie more interesting. Yeah, because when I don't know what the movie theater going experience is like where you guys live. But over here where I live, people are very respectful. You can call theater security if someone's being very loud, and they boot them out. But in film festivals, the people who are passionate about movies are the ones who attend this. So they are the ones who fight the people who are not behaving accordingly. So we were sitting in the front, and then we heard this guy shouting I live in Asia, so I'm not gonna copy the accent. But I heard him basically saying someone's on their phone. So I didn't think of it. I didn't think anything of it. And then 10 minutes later, the same woman is on her phone, and he goes to her row and points at her and starts cussing her out. And we were like, "Excuse me." So anyway, it's
love Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah,
me too. Love it. I love Freddy.
No,
I like Halloween better.
I also like Halloween better. I'm a Freddy gal. I do love Freddy.
Unpopular opinion, I like Nightmare on Elm Street 2 when the guy is the one getting possessed and doing the killing. I found that one to be very creative.
Like that one. Yeah, that was good.
I like the remake better than the original.
And I swear to this day, I thought the woman in
Silence.
I thought the woman on Nightmare on Elm Street
Sarah.
2 was like a young Meryl Streep. Like she looks just like her. Did anyone else get that?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Just look at that actress. She looks
Psycho
like
2. Have you guys seen Psycho 2?
I've seen
No.
all of them.
I haven't
But
seen it.
I
Is
don't
it
think I've
good?
seen Psycho 2.
I heard it was the same actor, I think.
Okay. I mean, they're kind of weird. Like,
Yeah.
I just feel like the first one is so it's Psycho. You know what I mean? Like everyone knows Psycho. I feel like it's a big deal. And the others I feel like tried to replicate the feelings that the first one did, but it didn't quite hit it. I didn't hate them. I thought they were fine. I liked them
The
enough.
soundtrack is so good. To the original, the soundtrack. Oh my gosh. Like,
Ooh.
oh yes. I'm a music student over here, so
Ooh.
I'm like, yes. And it was all strings, so just
Oh.
yeah. People are always
Have
like,
any of you guys
huh?
have any of you guys seen The Visit?
Yes. Yes.
No.
yes,
Where
yes.
they
Everyone thinks
visit the
that's so
grandparents.
funny, but I got chills when I was
I thought
watching
it was creepy. Funny. I thought it was
It's-
creepy.
So when you look it up, it's
Huh.
the first category it comes under is comedy.
Really?
And I'm like, no, it's
Wait, are we
it
thinking
was
of the same movie?
horrifying.
Is this
The
the
one
M.
with
Night
the
Shyamalan
grandparents.
where they visit
Yeah.
the grandparents?
Yeah.
It gave me chills
Mhm.
with the twist.
Comedy.
Oh, nice. You're a music educator. That's awesome.
Ooh,
I love that.
that's fun.
Cool.
Yes, I'm not a music educator in a classroom setting, but I like teaching. It's a fun time.
I think Rain has disappeared.
Yeah.
She vanished.
She'll be back.
She has vanished. Ooh.
She's gone.
What is that horror movie where it's over Zoom?
Oh my gosh.
I feel like there's a lot.
Yeah.
As the host
There's
on
Host,
Harry
Unfriended.
Potter.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you watch
Great.
Unfriended the Dark Web? That one was
No.
the Unfriended sequel. It was so much better than the first one because
Really?
it was like
It was.
real people doing some real ass, you know.
I need to check that one out.
I need to
Please
watch the
do.
second
It's so
one.
good. I saw it on my birthday and it was just like everything.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite horror movies then? Either movie or horror movies.
Well, I do love Hellraiser, but I love Phantasm, and I also have like the stuff is the background of my phone, if you can see. Stuff.
Yeah.
So I love those films. I really love the remake of Evil Dead. That one I watched.
Yes, I love that movie. I love that movie. I love that movie. Oh my god, I love that movie so much. In the
Yeah.
end, oh my gosh, with the chainsaw and she's like, feast on this, mother. I was like cheering. I was cheering in the movie theater. That
It's
movie.
so good.
Unpopular opinion: the remake of Evil Dead is way better than the original Evil Dead.
I
Oh my
agree.
god.
I love the original too,
I agree.
but I
like
do love the goriness of the remake for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and like in
I
the
asked my
remake, like
husband,
they
I was like,
actually.
"What is my favorite genre of horror?" And he's like, "Gory." I'm like,
And like in the remake, they actually have a reason to be in the cabin because she's like a drug addict. Whereas
Oh,
like in the
yeah.
original, it's like, why are they there? Why don't they just
Yeah.
I agree.
leave?
It's a really well made. I think it's my favorite
It's so
remake.
good.
Good
It's so
remake,
good.
yeah.
Sometimes remakes are better.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree. Sometimes remakes are better, and people don't like to admit it.
Yeah. But it just is what it is, you know? Sometimes
Oh my god! And I have like a spiritual connection with you because like if The Vanishing is my favorite, Evil Dead remake is like
Up
not
there.
even number 2. It's not even number 2. It's like 1A. It's like
1.5.
because like I saw that movie in theaters.
Yes.
I wasn't even 18 yet, but it was like an R18 movie, right? And
Did
I
you
sat
sneak
like in
in?
the Sorry?
Did you sneak in?
No, I
Neither.
forced my dad to go with me.
Oh,
And he
God.
thought
Yeah.
that I was crazy. He was like, "Why are you picking this film?" And I was like anyway,
Duh.
and I made us sit in the very, very front. I was like, I need this to just ruin me. And it did in the best way. And just yes.
Goodness.
Amazing. Nice. What about you, Alex? Your favorite?
Oh, I wanted to ask Andrew though, real quick. Since Hellraiser is like one of your favorite franchises and stuff, what did you think of Books of Blood? Did you watch that on Hulu?
I loved Books of Blood. I don't know why it got terrible reviews. I really enjoyed it. It blew me away.
Yeah.
But I haven't read Clive Barker's Books of Blood, I will say. I've read some of his other novels, but I haven't read those. So maybe people that were like diehard Clive Barker fans didn't like the movie. I don't know how true it was to his writing, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really liked it too. But yeah,
I really liked it.
So.
I'm
Yeah,
writing
I
so
want
many
to
things
read
now.
Books of Blood before I watch it. So I'm like planning to read Books of Blood really, really, really soon because I really want to watch that. But
We need
I
to.
didn't know it had bad reviews. I haven't heard it.
The movie has pretty, but it's Rotten Tomatoes, and I don't really agree with much that
No.
they anyways. So take it
I
with a
need
grain.
to start ignoring Rotten Tomatoes because, like you said, half the time I don't even agree with it. I
Yeah.
shouldn't let it influence me, but I just my little like I don't know. Sometimes
Yeah,
they'll, like
it's hard to not.
yeah.
I just watch it regardless.
Yeah.
It's like whatever. It looks
I need to
good.
do that. I need to do that. So, what's your favorite?
I would say the original The Thing.
Ooh,
Kurt Russell.
That's a great one.
Ooh, that was good. That was good.
And I love like cosmic horror and like isolated settings and like stuff like that.
mm-hmm.
So like Alien.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And like Lovecraftian, like spooky stuff. Yeah.
I'm missing
Oh my
Under
gosh.
the Space.
Speaking of Lovecraftian, did you watch that movie Underwater? Like that with Kristen Stewart? Did you like it? I thought that was like the worst movie I've ever seen.
I love
I
that
swear.
movie.
Oh my god, so like I don't know if I mentioned this before, but like I write movie reviews for this site, for this website I work for, and I gave that movie 0 stars. Like I completely like eviscerated that movie because it was like I don't know what it was about that movie. I don't know if I was having a bad day, but like I saw that movie in theaters and it made me so angry that I broke out into hives for some reason.
Oh my god!
Like that movie is like the worst movie I have ever seen.
I liked
so much
it.
fun, so.
Wow.
I am biased to underwater movies, though. Anything underwater, deep sea, or outer space, I just usually enjoy. So
what are some good ones that you liked with underwater settings?
Event Horizon. Do you guys like that one?
it's like Hellraiser in space. Yeah.
I saw that one and I'm just gonna hide my opinion away from the
Hide under a shirt. Like I loved it.
like I totally liked it, you know.
Yeah. Signs off of chat. McKay, what's your favorite?
The Vanishing.
Vanishing. Besides that, you have a few other.
Okay, so The Vanishing and Evil Dead and Rosemary's Baby because Rosemary's Baby, yeah, I swear, like these movies don't scare me. So whenever I watch a horror movie, I grade them based on craft and story and acting.
Yeah.
And Rosemary's Baby had all those things. Mia Farrow was just so tortured, and I was like I was less interested in what was happening to her and more interested in the research she was doing, like when she was going into those like old bookstores and like looking up what Satanism was all about. I was like, oh my god, do tell. So yeah, and
Oh my gosh.
yeah, I would say those are my top 3. Best horror movie I saw last year, which is super, oh my god, this is like a movie that got horrible reviews and that I don't know anyone who loves it, but I loved the remake of The Grudge, the 2021, with Andrea Riseborough and who else was it? I can't remember who else was in the movie, but like that movie was just so bleak and so dark and so disturbing, and it pissed off a lot of people I saw it with, but I was just like, my heart goes out to it.
Did you guys see Relic?
That was so boring.
Oh my god, that was my favorite movie of last year. I love it.
What did you like about it? Because I was like falling asleep.
I think because like it's about like taking care of a sick family member, and I think like because I had that experience that it really resonated with me, but it was just like I really loved the metaphor behind it. I thought it was so cool.
Yeah,
it's about Alzheimer's, right, or something like that.
Yeah, it
was more so about just like how we're all gonna come to an end and how we have to like we're built on our, you know, the people that came before us, and we're gonna have to help the people after. It's just like it's a very interesting film. I really enjoyed it. But yeah,
I have a question for you, and
I haven't watched it, but
you.
sounds good.
So do you remember the scene when when the daughter gets trapped inside the house and it's like a maze? Like, what do you think that scene meant? I couldn't figure it out.
I think that was like a metaphor of like because they built that house on top of the land of their great grandfather. So for me, it was like a metaphor of, coming from our ancestors and we're only here because of them, and then having to like recreate that cycle of caring for those that are sick that raised us. Does that make sense?
See.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm getting way too
that,
analytical, by the way. I tend to do that. So
Now I'm
It's
more
fine.
interested in the movie.
Yeah, I want to watch it now. So,
Favorite and least favorite horror remake.
oh my god, I know my least favorite.
What is it?
Favorite. It's the Rob Zombie Halloween. I can't stand it. I hate it.
I hated that movie. I hated
Every
that
second
movie.
of my
Oh my god. I don't know.
I hate it. I'm sorry. I know people liked it. I know.
Cool.
I
I'm not drawn to
did
it.
like it.
It's the
I
only
did
one
like
I've
it. I'm
seen.
not gonna lie. Horrible. Right
He keeps
now.
casting his wife in movies and like Sherry Moon, but yeah, it didn't work.
It was
Not it.
horrible. It took
was,
away
it
all
was.
the good that Halloween is. It took away the classic feel. It took away John Carpenter's work. It took away everything, and it defiled it. I'm sorry. I hated it. I literally fight people about it because I hate it so freaking much. I hate it.
I can't. I don't know anyone who likes that movie. I'm quite
Yeah.
hard pressed to find a reason why people would like that
seen
film.
People like it. I've seen people online tell me that it's more.
I think
it's
Sarah's
more
pointing at herself.
You like it?
Sarah,
like it was
did you like it?
terrible.
I've
I
never
actually
seen
enjoyed
any
it.
Halloween
I
movie
thought it was
except
entertaining.
for that one.
Please,
Which is why you.
Yeah.
That's why I like it.
please watch the others. Please watch the others. I'm begging you to watch.
I've watched all the others.
I'm
But,
sorry.
Do you have a
I just
favorite?
found it entertaining. I didn't.
Do I have a favorite?
Yeah. Do you have a favorite remake?
Oh,
Okay, so I hated I hated Blair Witch Project, the original.
Me too.
I really liked the Blair Witch, the newer one.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
I didn't see the
It's
new
pretty
one.
good.
Really?
I
The
liked
Adam
the
Wingard
original.
one, where the sister goes to look, or where the brother goes to look for the missing sister. Heather's brother. Is it that one?
No.
No, like there was like a 2013 where the plot was like Heather, the girl that goes missing, and then her brother is the one that's like trying to look for her. Is it that one, or is it the sequel you're talking about?
It's not the sequel, but it's just called Blair Witch. And it's like just a remake of the Blair Witch Project where they're in the woods with like
Yeah, no,
found footage kind of thing.
it's the brother looking for her in that movie. The poster's red, right?
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try that. I liked, so this isn't a movie. Well, it's a movie and a miniseries, but I liked it, like the newer It Chapter 1, more than the miniseries.
I like
Me
them both
too.
for different reasons.
Yeah.
But I agree that I like the way the newer one went. Like I liked the acting, and I liked. I really liked that Pennywise, but I still the original is great. I love the original.
Yeah.
It scared me, but I do like the new one more. I
I'm
think.
the only one that hated that Pennywise. I hate him. I hate him so much.
Oh my god!
I hate him. He's the worst. I don't know why. Everyone loves him, and I just didn't get it.
Oh,
I love how angry we get about like these random horror things.
I know.
But I will say that's why I don't think
Mine
that's
is
the worst
dumb
remake.
because
I
it's
still
like
enjoyed it.
who
But I
even
think
really
Friday
cares.
the 13th is the worst remake.
What is?
What is?
The Friday the 13th remake.
Oh,
I hated
With
that
the, like,
one. Oh my god.
I hated all of the like.
Locks up girls, and it's like he's a dead child. What are you talking about?
yeah. Okay, yeah, I agree.
hated all of the verses. The Freddy versus Jason.
Oh,
But oh my god, those were terrible. Oh my god, why?
I thought they were so dumb. Yeah,
It's
fun.
so dumb.
I can't make myself watch those kind of horror movies because I feel like I'll just get annoyed. Like they just seem pointless. I don't know. Maybe that's
They are. No one ever wins. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no winner. Yeah.
it's like let's
So
watch.
dumb.
Let's just watch pointless 90 minutes. You know.
Yeah. Why that was even like a fad or whatever that was. Like it wasn't thing
Yeah.
for a little while. I was like, why though? Like nobody likes this. Why is this a thing?
It was.
So terrible.
So has everybody here watched Midsummer and Hereditary at some point of your life?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So glad. Okay, so are we good for moving into discussing those movies?
Ooh, yes.
Then you
Sure.
can throw in any last thoughts later. Spoilery section. Okay, so what movie did you like better?
I liked
Hereditary.
Hereditary 1,000 times more than Midsummer.
I like
Them both.
Let's go
Midsummer.
around in like
I like Hereditary more.
let's go around. So McKay, let's go to Alex next, and let's like snake around. So I hear everybody's reasoning.
So, wow, Hereditary, I feel, was like a work of art. All of the acting was incredible. It's really hard to top it, but for some reason, I just really like Midsummer.
Mhm.
I like culty stuff, you know?
Mhm.
So, yeah, I was really into it. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Anda?
I liked Hereditary more.
Hereditary.
Yeah. I liked I mean, if you watch the movie, it's one thing, but if you rewatch it, you really get a sense of like, oh, they have no free will. From the very beginning, you see that. And it's just it's so interesting. With Midsummer, although I did enjoy it and some scenes were very intense, I didn't also understand it, which is fine. They don't have to explain everything. But like, I feel like they went so far into their, like we got to see their rituals, but then they would kill people and bury them as a crop in a field. And I'm like, wait, why though? Which is fine. They don't have to explain
the
it.
point. Yeah.
I really enjoyed Hereditary.
Okay. Very cool. What about you, Rain? I'm sorry, I missed what you said.
I did enjoy Hereditary more, while I did love the cult aspect of Midsummer. I just found myself more just enjoying Hereditary more. The Midsummer was a little bit too slow in some sections where I was just kind of like, all right, let's just get to the
Yeah.
Right.
what's going on. And Hereditary, it was just like it was like a bang from like
Yeah.
almost the beginning. I was just like, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a whole experience. I loved it. Toni Collette made that movie, so had someone else been cast, maybe it was a little different experience.
He
But
makes every movie, I swear. Such a good actress.
loved it.
What about you, Erin?
So I like them both. I think they're really, really good, and I do love them both differently.
Yeah, me too.
But I like Midsummer more because this is my problem with Hereditary. Okay, I loved Hereditary the whole time. I was invested. I
just removed.
enamored.
There we go. Sorry. Go on.
I was invested. I was enamored with Hereditary. Okay, the whole time.
Mhm.
The ending lost me. I didn't like the ending.
Yes.
But the rest of it was perfect. The rest of it was perfection. I
didn't like the ending.
definitely didn't get the ending. I thought it was weird and a little anticlimactic, but you know, that's just me. Midsummer, I think, is beautiful, like to look at. I love the scenery. And then I'm also a huge thing, like I love cults. I just love anything that has to do with cults. So I think I just gravitated more and I preferred the ending of Midsummer. So I think that's another reason why I like Midsummer more. I'm an ending person. If it ends the way I want it to, I'll like it more. But if it doesn't, then I don't like it. So
Yeah. That makes sense. What about you, Sarah?
I like Midsummer way more. Like I watched the ending of Midsummer before I actually watched the movie. It came up in my YouTube recommended. It was the end of the movie with no music.
Ooh.
And it was creepy. Like I had no idea what was going on. I just saw like him in the bear suit and I was like, what's going on?
God.
I don't know what's going on. But I watched the whole movie and it's beautiful. I love cult aspects like everyone else said. And there's a part, the part where they're bashing his head in that just like stuck with me. And it just, I don't know, it just thoroughly disturbed me and no movie has ever like done that. So I would say Midsummer.
So same with Erin, like I like aspects of both, but I think Hereditary, it scared me more, of course, but I think Midsummer just like stuck with me more. I remember after I watched it the first time, like for literally like a good 2 days, I was like, what did I just watch? Like I couldn't process it. And like the ending was so good. And like you said, with the gore, like it was so shocking. Like it was shocking in Hereditary too, for sure. Like the way that they just like were staring up at mountain thing.
Mhm.
Like they couldn't take their eyes away, and that's how I felt as like the viewer. Like I could not look away, even though I was so horrified and like knew exactly what was coming. And I feel like I was just like in shock. Like it was such a good movie. Themes of the movies. What do you think the main themes are of both of them? We can start with Midsummer. How about?
I have something for Midsummer. So I actually wrote this down on my notebook, and
Love it.
I love that it walked you through the indoctrination process of being part of a cult.
Yeah.
Name starts off with how cults prey on people who are weak. Like in life, they look for girls who are homeless or boys who are homeless. Over here, Danny, the main character, has made a home in her boyfriend who is an abusive prick, and her parents. Well, we're in the spoilery section, so the movie opens up with her becoming an orphan, right?
Yeah.
So she's a broken girl, and they take, and then the thing they do to people who are weak is they love bomb them, meaning they make you feel like the most special person on earth. So when they were doing the maypole dance, I honestly think that they lost on purpose to make her win. So they Chris is like amazing person and make her feel like she was part of it. And then
it was planned almost. I agree.
In order to keep you in a cult, they threaten you with excommunication, meaning if you want to leave or if you betray us, you can no longer be part of this cult. So this was seen when they were killing off the tourists who wanted to leave, the two people who wanted to leave. They, how they ended up rather. And it really speaks to how cults work in real life and how as a viewer, you get indoctrinated yourself. Meaning, like in the end, like, are you really happy for her? Because like now she's like in a worse situation.
Right.
And then Hereditary is, yeah, I love the theme of free will. Also, like what you said, like they discuss it in a classroom. Which, okay, that scene I found a bit heavy-handed. It's like, why are you discussing your own movie's theme in a classroom? And I love how the family is from the beginning a very sacrificial lamb. Like there's like no way this could have ended for them. And that's what I loved about it. Like I disagree that the ending was bad because like in the end I got goosebumps all over. Like when Alex Wolff was just looking at when Alex Wolff was like looking at the people, with that evil face, like I am Paimon, I'm gonna rule the world. I was just like, I loved it, and yeah, that's what I think basically.
Yeah.
Issue was I found it to be a bit xenophobic, meaning being afraid of people from other countries, because it speaks a lot about Swedish traditions and maypoles, but with the knowledge of IKEA. Like it's like clearly a bunch of people who aren't from Sweden made this movie, and it made them. So I was like, okay, you're gonna make this culture a villain, and you're gonna appropriate their culture. You're not gonna have much insight into them. Like I found that to be quite insensitive and boring. Yeah, like I mean, for the first hour, I was in a movie theater, and I was like trying so hard to stay awake. And in the part when they were jumping off the cliff, I was laughing. Like when they hit the floor, I was like trying so hard to like not burst out into laughter in the theater.
Wow, that's like the opposite of me.
Yeah,
I was
it was so fun because there was like no sound.
See, that's so different. This is why like horror movies affect people so differently. Like one scene can affect someone so much. Like this is not a horror movie example, but like the Titanic at the end when they're like falling off, like I like hysterically laugh, and like apparently that's really bad. But like I don't know what it is. I just laugh at that.
My mom would have yelled at you.
My mom was yelling at me, but like I don't know why. Like it's not actually the events that happened. It was like how I was like you said, like when you're watching the movie, just something struck you and made you laugh. But I feel like that's why horror affects people different ways too. Like maybe it's the music touches somebody that way, or like the lack of music affects somebody else the other way. So I think that's really interesting that you're laughing, because I was like screaming. Okay, I was alone. Well, I was with somebody, but like we were not in a theater, so it was like appropriate for me to scream. But yeah, did any of you guys watch it in the theater?
Me.
Were people screaming? Like, what were people doing?
There was barely anyone in the theater with me. It was like me and a person who will not be named, and then an elderly couple, like just on the other row, and I was like,
not during that scene.
I was like, why in this film? Like, oh my god, like this conservative elderly looking couple. I kept in the scene when she was looking through the peephole, and like the old women were like making them have sex. I was like them to see how they were reacting.
Were they reacting? Were they scarred?
They were like.
That scene was just a lot to take in.
Yeah.
Did either of the movies scare you?
I was more excited than scared. Happy
No, but I think a lot of the biggest theme in Hereditary being that like even a family member could do something so horrific that could just like ruin your life. Like it's just so terrible. That's not scared me, but it affected me a lot. Like I felt so bad for him. Like that's your little sister. You're supposed to protect her. And for something like that to happen, and it's just completely incidental. Like he made some choices, but it's like
that scene, that whole tension of that scene and his reaction of shock.
Yeah.
Like the most awful thing. I don't know if this is dramatic to say, but it seemed like the most realistic thing I'd ever seen in a horror movie.
I watched that in theaters, and the theater was silent.
I bet.
You could hear a pin drop, and it was the most intense moment I've ever had in a movie theater.
Yeah, I agree.
Face when he had realized what had happened, like when the sister's head gets decapitated, he didn't even look back. Like he was just like,
I know.
He was like looking dead at the road, and like the whole theater was like radio silent. Like I could hear people breathing.
I know.
Yeah.
And the way that it was acted was just so I was like, this is like I'm watching this really happening.
Yeah.
Like that is, and then how he just went home and just got in bed, and like how you just hear the screaming, and you're just like, this feels so real. Like, that scene really affected me.
So intense.
That was actually based on something that happened in Georgia, like kind of near me, because that happened where they hit a pole and someone was decapitated and they didn't stop. They just kept driving home. But it was kind of like the same scenario, and I hear that that's like what inspired that scene in the movie.
Wow.
That's terrifying. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, did they say why the person's head was like outside of the car? Like why they were looking out of the car to begin with?
No, they just said they were all drunk and just
yeah,
it was just one of those situations where they were just goofing off, and then boom, head comes off.
I think Midsummer is kind of the winner, just in numbers. Most of us seem to like it better, but Hereditary is still such a good movie.
I agree.
And then also just a comment about cults. Many people that leave cults are caught from their close family members. This is a cult's greatest weapon against potential deserters. Yeah, it's that conditioning that happens. And also something I noticed, you know how in Midsummer, like they all are empathetic in the way that they mimic the emotions of someone to make them like not feel alone. It was so creepy, but it was also like I just felt for her. Like for the first time, people are actually there with her, like feeling her hurt and like giving her affirmation. So it like totally made sense why she actually wanted to stay there, because
and that was the direct opposite that her boyfriend did for her.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend was the worst.
That's actually so true, because he was so emotionally void, and these people were like exaggerating how, you know, much they could relate to her on an emotional level. So like, I mean, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it really struck me when she was crying.
And we all cried.
And the women, when she had seen her boyfriend, and like her reaction to that was just like so heartbreaking.
If I was her, I would have opened that door and been like, "What the fuck do you think you're doing, huh?"
That whole just That whole thing was like, oh my God.
Oh, we're over. I would have like made a scene. Like that movie would have ended a completely different way if I was
Straight up.
I would have found
Nice.
Honestly, the bear suit thing though, like really bothered me because you know the scene where they're like cutting open the bear, I'm like, I can't.
Oh yeah.
Which one of you in the text message said, should we get him a bear suit?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I was dying. That was hilarious.
And I was like, should I say that on the live? But like also it was like too relevant, too real.
So awesome.
No, that whole scene in the end, and they give them that stuff, and they're like, "You won't feel pain," and it's like, yeah, exactly.
I think the scariest part for me in Midsummer was the scene when he stumbles into the cabin of where that one tourist was, like the British guy, with his lungs open. They were so.
Oh my God!
And he had like flowers in his eyes.
Is that possible?
Yeah.
That was beautiful
I
though.
don't know.
I thought that was that shot was like really artsy.
Yeah.
Oh, it was very artsy, but like to think that he was still alive in that, like, I don't know. It was like
You could see the lungs.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, I hope. Did you guys say that's like? Can that happen? I don't think so, right? Wouldn't
I don't think so
I hope
either.
I know. I was getting genuinely concerned. Like, can that happen? Like, I don't think it can, but like that would be one of my worst nightmares. I can't even imagine that. Oh my God. Okay.
Another scary scene in Midsummer to me is when the one guy is going to find that like sacred book or whatever,
Yeah.
and then the
That
guy
was
who's
pretty good.
wearing the other guy's skin is like staring. Yeah, like, and he's just up front and just staring and breathing. That just creeped me out.
I had to like rewind and rewatch that because I was like, whoa, no, did that what?
It's like the Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
That one was such a creepy scene in that movie, but like so good. So
Yeah.
good. All right, let me look at if I have any last questions. We kind of already touched on it, like what parts shocked us the most. For me, it was, of course, in Hereditary, the famous scene, and then also in
Hereditary.
Midsummer.
There were a lot of other great scenes in that. Like,
Oh, when she's like sawing her head off, that was
Oh my
With the
God.
piano wire.
yeah. That was good. Oh my gosh, wait, I totally forgot. You know how it's filmed from like such a it's filmed far away and you can just see her moving on the ceiling. So
Wait,
good.
that is good.
Tony Collette is in the house of that old lady, and then she drives away. And then when she's in the car, she stops the car, and then there's like a mouth click, like the whole theater. The whole theater just like.
I wanted to bring it up too, the fact that like how like tiny houses and like doll houses, things like that are just like this running theme in horror. Like, and that, like they're just so like because I recently watched The Lodge, and I know a lot of you guys have as well. So it's just like, you know, that's just a theme that like totally works for me, I guess, because like that freaked me out. And then like they also do that in like The Haunting of Bly Manor, if you guys have watched that. It's good. Like it involves the dollhouse as well. Like anything with like little kids, like doll houses, kids drawing, stuff like that is just so creepy.
But it's also interesting how differently the dollhouses are used in Hereditary and The Lodge too. Because The Lodge, it's really shown that like they have no free will, that they're just, you know, puppets or whatever. But in The Lodge, you're told what's happening in the opening scene, what the movie's going to be about, and you still don't even believe it. I've never seen a movie where the opening scene tells you what's going to happen. It's the same as the ending, and then you get to the end and you're like, oh my gosh.
You notice that in Midsummer it opens with that big mural that kind of like tells you the whole story. It's so easy to miss, but if you like go back and look at it, it kind of has like the story, but it's still kind of convoluted, like hard to decipher when you're looking at it. But especially the one where you see like the love potion one, it's like and you're just like, am I like understanding?
I'm just really into that type of foreshadowing. Like it's just done so well sometimes, and like I just love it.
Yeah, and like the moment she's like, that drink looks darker than ours. I'm just like,
I like how they did that in Midsummer when they showed like those I don't know what was like different, like the cloths or whatever.
Yeah.
And they had the different rituals
Yeah.
that they would do, like putting the period blood in the drink and like
That was
stuff.
so gross.
Like that was just what.
I just love these horror movies that are coming out now where it's not like an external force getting in the house. It's like someone in the house is the bad guy.
Yeah.
Even The Lodge, where, you know, every character is the pro and antagonist, where you hate and love everyone. It's so interesting.
It really
With
is.
the kids you feel bad for the whole time, and then you're like, wait.
Yeah.
Also, why did you do that? Like, that's not a smart idea.
Like they're just this product of their grief and stuff. It's insane. It's just it's just brilliant. I don't know. I really like that about it.
Has everybody seen The Lodge? Are we good to tell it? Okay, so you know the part, when do you guys think it switches over? I think it's when they fall asleep, right? And they get the
Well, I mean, because I believe that they drug her.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And that's kind of when everything starts, because they drug her so they can hide everything and change everything, like change the clock and stuff like that. Like
those kids, man, they should not.
Yeah.
Why would you mess with an ex-cult member? Like, doesn't make any sense.
Things like that. But at the same time, it's just like, I would be concerned too if my dad was dating someone who was the only survivor of a cult. Like, what?
And they're kids too.
And right after
The age, they're not adults. They're not thinking correctly. They're thinking out of the grief of their mom. Like they're just so heartbroken and they're mad. And so it's hard to hate them and love them at the same time because they're doing bad things, but you also understand why they're doing it and where they're coming from. So it's just a mess, man.
I was definitely more angry at the father because I was just like, he knows that obviously she has some like PTSD from that and like residual trauma. That like, why would you even think about leaving her with your children?
Well, the dad was just like the worst. Like,
he was just like, bye, see you later, I'll be back. Like,
he is dating client, like he's her therapist. She is half his age, and the children clearly blame the mom's death on her.
Yeah.
So, traumatized woman, you have traumatized kids, and you're gonna leave them alone in a house?
And you're a therapist. Like, that just like pissed me off. My husband watched this with me, and he's not a horror fan at all, and he definitely doesn't like artsy films or anything, and he thought it was complete trash, which I didn't think it was complete trash. I thought it was decent. I thought it was pretty good. If I gave it like a 1 to 5 rating, it'd be like a 4. Like it wasn't perfect, but it was still really good to me because I like that type of atmospheric, that like isolated scene. Like it was really good, but he hated it. The ending came and he was like, that was stupid. Why did I even watch this?
I mean, there's so many horror movies that have such bad acting. That when they do have great acting, you're like, okay, automatically it just gets bumped up.
Yeah, for sure. And then like, you know, the ending just didn't build up as big as I thought it was going to be. Like I just thought it was going to be a bit bigger than it was, but I don't know. I thought it was still pretty good. He hated it.
That's funny.
Well, you want to watch something scary? Because I was gonna rewatch Hereditary with him because he hasn't seen it, and I was gonna rewatch it before this live, and he was just like, "No, the last movie you picked sucked." No. I was like, "No, you don't get it." Oh my gosh!
In your life who will watch horror with you?
My boyfriend loves horror movies as well, so and then my mom, so we just all watch them together. So
your house will just like horror, but in the best ways. That's awesome.
Or make them watch. I have my husband watch horror, but I don't know if he enjoys it.
Or he just doesn't like it.
Yeah, my husband's like, let's watch a Marvel movie. I'm like, no, Hereditary. Come on, what are you doing?
That's hilarious.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh, wait, Alex, you should share what you're gonna do.
Yeah, he's not on anymore. He said that he had to go eat dinner, so
good. We're saying
everyone. Yeah, I was gonna, you know how they did that spoof of like the Midsummer, if it was a romantic comedy? I'm just gonna show him that trailer and be like, oh, it's lighthearted.
What? I haven't seen this spoof.
I haven't.
So good.
You
Yeah.
sent it, right? Did you send
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, I said the link.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, okay. I'll have to watch that.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
That's brilliant.
You have to report back.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And he's not like big on horror movies, but I've been trying to like give him some thriller movies. We watched The Quiet Place recently.
Oh, my husband liked that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a big fan of The Office, so I was like, it has John Krasinski. But yeah, he bought me this sweater that says horror movies and chill.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. So none of us have to watch horror alone. No.
Most of the time I watch them alone, but like I'll make him watch certain ones that I'm like, okay, this one will probably be pretty good. The Lodge, when I was watching it, he had just come home
Okay.
from somewhere. So it wasn't like, I was like forcing him to watch it. He showed up and I was already watching it. So
sometimes
on him.
sometimes if you watch it alone, pretty much always if you watch it alone, it's scarier. So sometimes that's nice.
Sure.
Yeah, if you just watch it alone and you're like home alone and you hear a sound outside and you're like, I know what that is.
Yeah. And I feel like alone you could like digest it better. Like you could actually like, pause it when you want and like kind of think about a scene or like rewind certain parts.
For sure.
Not scaring one person, it can affect you. Like if you can tell nobody else is scared, you're like, oh, well, maybe it's not scary. But if, you're on your own, you just have your own reactions and like, yeah. I like watching movies with people, but also alone. It just depends on my mood.
Yeah.
Well, any other last thoughts about those movies? Midsommar and Hereditary?
Not liking them, and then it ruins the experience for me. Yeah.
If somebody doesn't like it.
If I can like sense that they're not into it, I kind of like get stressed.
Yeah, me too. So most of the time when I choose a book, like a movie for him to watch with me, it's one that I know that's going to be more like Alex said, like more thriller type, like more action packed. Like he definitely wouldn't have watched Midsummer with me. That's why I was like, I'll watch that one alone. Like anything more like slow burn or atmospheric. The Witch I watched by myself. Like he just would not be into that. But if it's like something more like action packed, like A Quiet Place is, he was totally into that and he liked that.
Have you guys seen The Gift?
Oh yeah.
I love that. The
That
Gift.
was Jason Bateman, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I forgot the other actors' names, but yeah.
Yeah, no, The Gift is more of like a thriller, but there's some parts in there that are disturbing. Like the ending, you don't really know. Like
I don't think
the
I
bad guy is.
I don't know.
Oh, you
I think it's on Netflix.
I think.
Could you repeat that? It cut out.
Huh?
Your audio cut out. What did you say?
I think it's quite fairly obvious what happens in the ending because, like, the gift is the. I don't want to say, but like, Yeah. I don't
Just go watch it. I like it. I like it.
The ending isn't as ambiguous as most people think it is, in my opinion.
Well, you analyze things so much. This is amazing. I don't. I really don't. I just kind of sit there and take it in. I mean, do you usually write notes?
Sorry?
Do you usually write notes as you watch stuff?
Well, normally when I'm watching it, just to pass the time, I just watch it. And then if something happens that makes me think that this movie is going to be one that I have to think about, then I write notes. But when I have to, when it's assigned to me, because I have to write about movies sometimes, then, and remind me to link you to my underwater review because, I went off on that. Then I'll take notes because I write a film review when I write a film review, I can't have like a blank page. Like I need to have like a guide, and then I can like an hour. So that's when I take notes. Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, we've almost been going 2 hours, and it's been such a good time.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts before I wrap it up?
Ooh, I have to say. Oh, sorry. Yeah, one thing about Hereditary, when we were talking about like the shocking moments,
Mhm.
It took me a second to remember, but that one scene where she was trying to destroy the journal and like her sleeve would go on fire. So then she was like, you know what? Let me just take one for the team, right? Let me just do it. And she threw it, and then her husband went on fire. And I was
That
like,
was crazy.
he was like the last sanity holding that family together. And then now he's, charcoal.
Oh, I forgot about that. That was so
Yeah.
impactful.
Was when Toni Collette realized that her mom, the grandma, was into some, sketchy stuff. And she looks into the old family albums. When she sees like the pictures of her mom participating in those like satanic rituals, that scene gave me the goosebumps like never before. Best scene in the film, in my opinion.
So
Or like
good.
one scene where Toni Collette goes in Alex Wolf's bedroom and starts, I don't know if they're like yelling or talking, but they're just communicating, and then she's like covered in water and you're like, what's going on? And then just like he catches on fire. Like the kind of dream thing that they had going on.
Yeah.
That scene was so intense. Like, I never wanted to be your mother, and she was like covered in
Yeah,
liquid,
yeah.
and like the
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
good stuff.
It's just like a family drama, like the director was saying.
Very intense, very family drama.
Very lots of content warning family drama. Watch at your own risk, basically. But for me, great. Well, it was so fun having you all on here. Thank you for coming and chatting about horror.
Yay! Thanks for having us.
It was so much fun.
It really was. And we'll have to keep, the group chat going and recommending movies. I feel like all of us watched The Lodge the other night. Like,
Yeah.
we're like, okay, like I'm in the middle. That was so fun. So thank you so much. And I think I'm going to end the live.
Yay.
Bye. Thanks for
Bye.
watching.